Did ancient Mayan people create their calendars by themselves? Were the ancient Maya calendars created in another dimension and then brought to humans? Did the gods of Maya create Mayan calendar to harmonize the dimension of the gods with the dimension of human beings? The Mayan system is based on the number 20, not on the number 10, as our own system. This means that the Maya counted from 0 to 19 before they had to move to the next order, instead of using 10 digits from 0 to 9 as we do. Perhaps they employed fingers and toes to keep the count. Among all the ancient calendar systems, the Maya and the other Mesoamerican systems are the most complex and intricate. They used 20-day months and had two calendar years, the 260-day sacred round or Zolkin and the 365-day round vague year or Hab. These two calendars coincided every 52 years. The 52-year period of time was called a bundle and meant the same to the Maya as our century does to us. There was another calendar that was called the long count calendar. That means the Mayans had three interlocking calendars, the sacred calendar of 260 days called the Zolkin, the solar calendar of 365 days known as the Hab, and a long count calendar. In fact, the long count calendar was developed to record the dates of the chronicles of mythical and historical events. This is called 13 Baktun cycle of the Maya long count calendar and contains 1,872,000 days or 5,125.366 tropical years, and it ends on the winter solstice. This long count calendar also counts days in chronological order like the Gregorian calendar that counts days chronologically beginning with the birth of Christ. The long count calendar begins with the mythical date of 11th of August 3114 years before Christ. This date has been drawn in hieroglyphs on Stela C in Quirigua, Guatemala. It is also believed that on this date the sun was at its zenith at midday and the Mayan constellation of the turtle that in modern cosmology is known as Orion constellation was aligned exactly with the Mayan underworld Xibalba. Marcus de Paz in his 1991 book Calendario Maya El Camino Infinito del Tiempo wrote that the complicated Maya chronological system seems to have been created by one person, although data about the movements of the sun and the moon had been accumulated for many centuries. Who is this one person? An alien, a human, or a jinn, or Satan himself? Did the gods of Maya create Mayan calendars to harmonize the dimension of the gods with the dimension of human beings? To understand the true nature of the relation of the ancient humans with their gods, this is very important to take into account the difference of the dimensions of the ancient gods and the dimension of human beings. According to the Mayan mythological tradition, as documented in colonial Yucatec accounts and reconstructed from late classic and post-classic inscriptions, the deity Itzamna is frequently credited with bringing the knowledge of the calendar system to the ancestral Maya. According to Mayan ancient documents, Itzamna was a principal pre-Columbian Mayan deity. He was ruler of heaven, day and night. Many religious traditions of all three Abrahamic religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, reveal that an entity called Azazel was the ruler of the first heaven, the heaven of the earth. He was also the ruler of the planet Earth in primordial ages. He was well aware of time and planetary system. He was from the Jinn nation but had the rank of an angel. But later he was cursed and deprived of all honors from God and thrown back to planet Earth as Satan. Were the Mayan calendars created by the Satan himself? In Yucatec Mayan language, the Maya sacred calendar is called Zolkin. This calendar is not divided into months. Instead, it is made from a succession of 20 days glyphs in combination with the number 1 to 13 and produces 260 unique days. Multiplying 20 into 13 equals 260 days. The length of the Zolkin matches 9 cycles of the moon and the gestational period of humans. The Zolkin is also related to the movements of the zenith sun and the growing cycle of corn. This calendar is also called the ritual calendar. Its name speaks itself, its purpose. No one is certain how such an unusual calendar came into being. The 260-day cycle may bind several celestial events together, including the configuration of Mars, appearances of the Venus, or eclipses. It may even represent the interval between conception and birth of a human baby. This 260-day calendar, also called ritual calendar, was used to determine important activities related to the gods and humans. It was used to name individuals, predict the future, decide on auspicious dates for battles, marriages, and so on. Each single day of this calendar had its omens and associations, and the inexorable march of the 20 days was like a perpetual fortune-telling machine, guiding the destinies of the Maya. Why the Mayan calendars were created utterly different from the rest of the world? Was the sacred calendar devised according to the days of the dimension of the Mayan gods, aka the dimension of the jinn? Why it was called sacred? Was this calendar made according to the dates of the certain esoteric rituals and ceremonies? Was this calendar a binding source between Mayans and their gods? Obviously, humans live in a different dimension than the dimension of the jinn, aka Mayan gods, and those gods needed a harmony between them and their human worshippers and allies to perform the rituals at the exact time directed by the gods. That continuous cycle of 20 special days shows a continuous cycle of ritual that were not supposed to be missed at any cost. For Joyce Marcus, the 260-day calendar was based on 20 and it was used by all Mesoamerican Indians, and the day names were based on animals and natural phenomena. 13 was a lucky number. The importance of the 260-day calendar was so significant that among the Zapotec, Mixtec, and Aztec, children were often named for the day of their birth, in such a way that children's names were, for example, 2 wind, 5 flower, 3 crocodiles, and 8 deer. Why these people named their children same as the day of birth? Was that baby considered a born slave of that deity? Was it that baby was considered to live the life as the servant of the deity of that day? Did Mayans create their calendars by themselves? In fact, this is also possible that Mayans never made this calendar by themselves, but their gods handed them over this calendar with other calendars. Even they had the solar calendar of 365 days in a different form. The Hab cycle is 365 days and approximates the solar year. The Hab is a 19th month calendar. The Hab is composed of 18 months made of 20 days and 1 month made of 5 days. This 5-day month is called Vaib. Thus 18 into 20 plus 5 is equal to 365 days. The Maya represented some of these months using more than one glyph. These glyphs are referred to as variants. Stewart and Houston think that the reckoning of time was very important to the Maya. Perhaps it was the need of the Mayans to record the time after receiving the out-of-this-world numerical system and calendars. In the Holy Quran, there is Ayah 17 of Surah Rahman that states, "He is the Lord of the 2 easts and the 2 wests." Why there is mention of 2 easts and 2 wests, whereas we know there is only one direction of east and only one direction of west in this world? In fact, we have been taught about the hidden world of the jinn and their dimension, that there are also cardinal directions in their dimension, but they are different from the human's world. The sun also rises in the east and sets in the west in their dimension, but not at the same time of the human's dimension. Time is never same in these 2 dimensions. These calendars were created to harmonize the time of the both dimensions, the dimension of humans and the dimensions of the gods. There is no doubt that Mayan number system and calendars are from out of this world. These calendars were not created in this world, but in the dimension of the Mayan gods, aka underworld. The ancient Maya cycle still survives in southern Mexico and the Maya highlands. under the care of calendar priests who still keep the 260-day count for divination and other shamanistic activities.